Okay, so I'll just go recap a little bit for the recording. I'm telling a story about my experience on the farm and how the horses would knock over the beautiful limestone walls, and nobody else seemed to be able to repair them well. Sometimes we would go out and we'd just throw the stones back up. A few days later, the stones would be back there again. Even the wind would blow them down. So we realized there was a bit of an art to these walls being built and how they would stay for hundreds of years. So I took it as a kind of a hobby to go out and start repairing some of these stone walls. And what I found was what you had to do is you had to check each stone. There was a kind of a pile there, and you'd have to start removing them. And I would remove any wobbly stone. If I had a wobble at all, I'd remove it. Or if there was a wobbly stone underneath it. And sometimes you'd actually go back down almost to the ground. And it seemed like you're going backwards. And it's very annoying because the temptation was there to just put a few more stones on top and it would kind of look okay. But if you had the discipline to go right back to the firm stones and put a stone on top of that and never put another stone on top of that until it was really solid, then you would start to find that the stones would kind of fit themselves, and you get like a jigsaw. You'd end up with this really strong, sturdy, compact wall, which would be just as good, well, not just as good as the people who built it originally, but it would stand the test of time again. So that's the kind of metaphor I want you to think about your coaching business. If you focus on these foundations and keep firming them up, you're going to have a really long-term success. If you get tempted by some of the hypes, you might just try and grow one area without strong foundations, and it might topple over. This is another inspiration. I think it's called the Ørnes Stave Church in Norway. Is approximately 900 years old, so nearly 1,000 years old. But if you look at it, it's made entirely of wood, built on stone foundations. So it has had a little bit of a makeover now and again, but the existing timber there dates back 900 years, and that's in the Norwegian, in the Scandinavian climate. The secret of the success of this wood is that it's built on these strong stone foundations, which means it's not going to sit in the moisture. And so then the wood gets exposed to the elements, but it's protected from, it's kept off the ground. And those stone foundations underneath it are what's keeping it up. And it's a secret of its success, lasting nearly 1,000 years. So if you think of the foundations of your coaching business, to use this metaphor, what are the stones, the foundation stones to your business? There's things that I haven't included here. I think one thing that is definitely worth a mention is some people call it your unshakable belief. So your confidence in your ability to create results. And that comes with time, it comes with practice, and it comes with a strong, and even when you had practice, even when you have had lots of experience, you will have days when you just confidence goes out the window and you think you're terrible again. You know, it's strange how how the mind is fluctuates quite a bit. So on a bad day, you think everything's terrible and why would anyone want to work with me? But if you're really confident, the results have been there, you'll really build it up. So that's not included here. I'm looking really at the business rather than you. But underlining this, sometimes we just need to put in a bit of to work in our skill set. Presuming that's there, I would say I'm going to go through these in kind of at a high level today, just to give you an overall kind of overview of these foundation stones that I believe are really important. A niche, you can be a generalist coach and get clients. And it takes a lot of hustling. It takes a lot of effort to get your clients. But if you are kind of a coach who can help almost anyone, it can be done. But when you want to build it, if anyone's not muted, perhaps I could ask you to mute just for now. That's all right, got you. Okay, so a niche, have a really important. I'll explain why in a minute. Also, you want to be able to create leads. You want to be able to generating leads and new connections, and have a system, a reliable way of being able to reach out or message and communicate with people who aren't necessarily really want to work with you right now. And then you want to have a high value program. Who here is still selling sessions, just individual sessions of maybe like an hour session or a half-hour session, or is anyone still in that boat where you're selling a coaching session for an hour or a single session, or have you all got a kind of some kind of a package, some kind of a program? Nice. Single sessions, yeah, Natalie. It's very hard to maintain that. Would you agree? Yeah. So single sessions, they play a role. They're brilliant. When you're new, it's brilliant to get a client from anywhere, and you're just okay. So yeah, thank you, Steve. You have your package of program, haven't sold it yet. Offering packages too. Yeah. So it's no harm if you can sell the session. Fantastic. It's income, it's practice, it's experience. However, it's very, very hard to build a reliable business from it. So then what we can be doing, and even if you're at that stage, there's different stages in your coaching journey as well. I've been at well, not every stage, I'm at the stage I have been before now. And, I would bite your hand off for a paid session at a certain stage. Now I'm much more reluctant. They're very, very few, and it's kind of an exception. But usually usually if it's a good fit just for a specific purpose, but for marketing, I'm selling kind of more programs. Okay, good. So people, Yogi, haven't sold the high value programs. So the high value programs are where it gets easier, because number one, you maybe make one sale, but it could be like my higher end are kind of 12 sessions. And that might include a discovery call, so like 13 sessions in development. Good, Paula. And it takes a while to get clear on your program, but it should be something that you're working on building. Even if you don't sell it, it's good for your profile. If it's good for your presence, your online presence, to have one, because people try to really that's what he's about. That's what she's about. Another skill then is you can have the program, but you got to get good at being able to make the offers. So be able to communicate in a way that shows to someone. If you have a prospect and you get them on a call, you got to be able to communicate to them that the value in this, so that they want to bite your hand off it, even though it's even though it's perhaps a lot more money than they were expecting, or that they've ever given out before in coaching, or that they initially I had thought was the value in. For example, I have a client this week who wanted to work with me. Well, we had a call, and I made it like she didn't have the money to work with me for the full amount, and there was a gap there but I made an offer that she really wanted, and she has to come up with several €100, but she's reaching out and she's trying to get that for the opportunity to work with me, because she really, really wants to work with me, and she really, really wants the result we're getting. So getting good at being able to communicate the value of it, people will really want to work with you. And there's a skill in that itself. And on that note, I'm going to be offering a kind of a training on that in the near future. I have a training coming up, a 6-week course coming up, so kind of probably the end of that. So probably mid to late summer. And then technical aspects, something that your program only works over time. Yeah, true. Also, I'll look at the high value program in a minute. But you get better results over time, far better results. And that's where the value is in. And when you really get that, then people start, you really hold to that, you'll be able to it gets easier to offer drop the bigger numbers and not get the response you're afraid of, which is way too much. Technical aspects, I like to keep it really simple at the start, and then you can embellish it from there, because we don't want to procrastinate. We don't want to, there's something in coaching, we call it your saboteurs will pop up. Oh, I need to have a really fancy website. I need to have I don't have this yet. So then I won't do what I got to do until everything's perfect. So I like to keep it really simple in terms of technical aspects. And then as it gets more complicated, as you have more clients, as you have more contacts, connections, etc., you can embellish it a bit. So let's focus on the niche first. At the end of all of this, I'm going to ask you to kind of look for the wobbly stones in your coaching business. So just keep in mind, what we're trying to do here is get a kind of a common understanding of what we're talking about here. So niche, it's who do you serve and how do you help them? Who do you help and how? And to get clear on your niche, it's really important to start. What problem do you solve? I think Elon Musk has a quote about the bigger the problem you can solve, the more money you're going to be able to make. So once you get clear, okay, people have problems. Who here doesn't have a problem? Who here has got a problem in their life that likes them, that like to be done with? Everybody's experienced different challenges, and you are all uniquely placed to help somebody or help people with something. And it's a matter of getting clear on, getting clear on all that. And then I found it's incredibly difficult as a generalist coach, and I have more than one niche. It's still annoying for me because I would just like to serve lots of people. But there are a few areas that I specialize in. One is, coaches like yourself. So what are potential clients like hoping to find a solution to? What is it that keeps them up at night? That clear and present problem that they're experiencing. They may not show it, but people are out there and they're going through it and put on a brave face, or they're going through it. But you can, the more you know your client, the more you know your ideal client, the more you can recognize what might be the problem. And then if they don't want that problem, what would they love instead? And what are their hopes and wishes? So really, this is the kind of area I liked using this quote, is your ideal client is the former you. And my coach mentor recently said, he said, you only have to be that one step ahead of someone to be able to help them. So for those of you on the call who here feels like they don't know enough yet, or they don't have enough skills yet, well, I feel it too. I always want more, but don't let that cod you, because you have already been through a transformation, a breakthrough, a change in your life that someone else is just going through it right now, or they're struggling right now. And you've had, maybe it's what led you into health and wellness, maybe it's what led you into coaching, maybe it led you to somewhere. So that gives you all you need to be able to help someone who's not quite where you are yet. And that's really valuable. I bet you would all love to reach back in time when you were going through. Think of a time when you were really struggling with something. You had a problem, it was keeping up at night, or maybe it still is, and you just love someone going, hey, I know where you are at. Yeah, I understand. I've actually been there. I don't know exactly how you feel, but I know how it felt for me. And I found a way through this, and I'd love to help you get through this much quicker and much easier and much more effectively than you're perhaps able to do by yourself. That's a nice way to reach out to someone. So to do that is knowing who you help and how. When you get this down, you'll have a I help statement. Who do you help? I help trained coaches make the transition from fully qualified to fully booked. Anyone here working on their niche still? Is it one of those? Who here's got their niche nailed? I mean, has anyone got a really high help statement that really resonates or is powerful for you? Paula, are you coming in there?
I was.
You are.
Yeah, sorry, I'm having some technical issues.
That's all right.
Yeah, it's fine. Can you hear me?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, I think my mute button's playing on and off. I don't have, I'm not sure how powerful it is, but I think I've come down to, I'm a bit like you, I'm sort of a generous coach, but my niche is more sort of helping midlife women going through midlife, and juggling sort of almost like the sandwich generation sort of thing, like juggling sort of work, but if you've got kids and aging parents and all the things to go with in the midlife of women. So some of the sort of physical things that happen in health and of course, mental well-being.
Brilliant. Okay. So your challenge is you got to challenge it to knuckle it, to underline it.
Yeah.
Bring it down to a nice thing that just rolls off your lips. I help. And you have to use it. If you're going to use a word like a sandwich, if enough people get it, it's not a problem.
I don't want to use sandwich because I think it's kind of, not everyone will get that, but it's definitely midlife, and I think it's more. I've had a debate with some friends of mine about whether, women over men, because I thought it's quite broad saying people. So I just thought women I can relate to, because I am one. And I am midlife myself, so I just think so it's really, I've niched it, and I didn't want to go also with the racial side of things. I want to be a bit more inclusive, but we'll see what happens. You don't know who who your potential clients will be, but yeah.
Something I've discovered is I've been reluctant to go into a more exclusive niche, and it doesn't seem to matter. I still attract clients who are for different reasons, either through word of mouth, or they just come across you, or I don't know how. The universe has a funny way of bringing people to you if they're suitable for you. So there is often a resistance. Oh, if I pick this niche, I'm going to miss out on this other person. And it's okay to have maybe two or three niches, but keep them very separate. The advantage of the niche is when you have it, from then on, you want to be communicating very consistently and clearly, as if you're talking to one person, and it's that person that you know so well, because you were there. Yeah. So that consistent message, and I call it your core message. You know, what helped you, Paula? Was it nutrition? Was it coaching? Was it support? Was it education? Was it empowerment? What were kind of big factors in helping you through this sandwich? Is there one or two things?
It's actually quite a few things, to be honest.
A top three. Is there like?
So the top three for me are definitely things like fitness and nutrition. Yeah. I suppose if I had to pick another thing, maybe just sort of mental, sort of like, I think just having sort of there was a point where I was a bit lost about what I wanted to do, my career and things, and just having that sort of mentoring. I found an unofficial mentor, and I think it was just that me, and also just dealing with the change. The biggest one probably for me was dealing with my child getting older, where I sat with things, looking ahead, kind of thing, and also my career sort of thing. And so it was kind of that midlife thing for me.
So you look for the bones in the kind of what you do, and we're talking about methodology in a minute. You're looking for so there's nutrition and fitness, big ones. Make it a bit more personal, and bring it like something like mentoring. You mentioned maybe mind mentoring, or just call it mentoring. To kind of you can bring your own language in, just something that kind of might appeal to you and to your target audience. And transitions, so that the life transitions, or just try and knuckle it down. Three or four things that
I like life transition.
Excuse me, life transition.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, and you can think of some way that you help people through that transition.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, and that just helps it personalize. And when you have, if it's really personal, really you, it's self-expression. One thing I learned about marketing and coaching was really game changer, is actually becomes about self-expression. It sounds great, and it's terrifying. Because the more we try and the more we try to express ourselves fully, the more conditioning that shows up. Oh, I can't say this, or I'm not this, or people won't accept me. That kind of stuff comes up. So a lot of the fears comes up. Yeah, so it's evolving. So typically in a niche, you start kind of wide, and over time you'll niche down. So that's perfect. And when you're in communication, and I know, Steve, you've been really, really consistent on LinkedIn. Some fantastic work. So that's probably giving you, if people are engaging that, giving you a better idea, or even tracking what's being read, gives you a better idea of what people are reading and how they're responding, and that helps you niche down. So one thing I realized is people all think, oh my God, I got to think content creation. Think lead generation is content. It's one way, but when I'm working with someone one-to-one, I always look at their strengths. And actually, two of my recent clients, or is it three, all strong networkers, existing network. Went for the clients only a few sessions in, and an MLC, and we're shaking the trees. We only reached out to three people on the second call. Got to reach out to three people in our network who might know someone, and from that she generated two leads almost straight away, and there's a call booked. The other person, the other lead, is just away on holidays, and hopefully be set up. Because if people know you and they can trust you already, start there. If you're a strong networker, get back in. I think COVID came along, put a lot of us on ice. But network, we can do it virtually, we can do it in person, just talking to people. And the more clear in who you are, who you help, and how, the easier it becomes. You can also do referrals. So maybe if you can look for ways that people may refer you. I think a nice way to go about that is to ask, maybe reach out to someone and let them know what you're doing. For example, if you're in health and wellness, maybe there's someone in medical field who are strained, in areas, and they could really do with some help, or someone to take off some of the pressure on the services. So you want to be careful with the medical industry, because they only trust and have faith in a certain. They see the lens through science and through data. But health coaching in particular has a lot of data to back it up. So you want to be kind of well versed and well armed in their language if you're going to go into the medical world. But see the people who are connected, people who are networkers, reach out to them and see, could they refer. They love helping people. Love to help people. And when you're confident in what you do, you can use that as a really simpler way to get leads quickly. And it's often the content creation often takes time, and it takes time to build up your authority, build up your presence. You've been on this planet for at least a couple of dozen years, I'll say safely. So people will have known you speaking. So people who here is comfortable speaking to a group? Paula, I don't know if I can't see everybody's face. So if you're comfortable speaking to a group, or if you're just scared of it, it's a wonderful way. Like this webinar for me, I enjoy these. I hope you're getting something from this, or that it's not a waste of your time. But it's just a way to communicate and share. And you could also do it live. You could ask people who have existing groups. Are you looking for speakers? People who have existing groups in different areas. Once you know your niche, they're always looking for new speakers to try and freshen things up. So it's a wonderful way to build up. And also, when you stand up in front of a crowd, providing it goes well, you get this sense of authority, especially if someone brought you to their group. So look for these options as well as content. And then content is, again, what I like to say about content is, when you get clear in your niche and the core messages you're serving, be consistent. Don't try and follow every trend. Get consistent, get clear on your core message, what you believe in, and what works, and just be consistent. And then content creation, make it fun. So there's like speaking, there's writing, there's there's video, blogs, articles, little info. I'm not really good at that yet, but I'm actually being quite interested now in the shorter stuff, the short videos. But you go to your strengths first. A nice thing to remember here is, if you get you can use a long form content, so a longer video or a longer piece of information, and then chunk it up, break it up into small pieces, and use it over different platforms. It takes energy and effort, but it's something to get started on as quick as you can, and just start the process, get it out there. What I would say there is, keep on file the useful bits of content, because it's a great way. We talk about messaging. So then you can have all the connections you want. You can have 1,000 million. You can have 10 people have millions on subscribers or likes, etc. That doesn't matter. It's about you're just creating connections, and perhaps using content to build your authority, so that people go, Shane's the guy for coaching, or he's the mentor coach, or he's the NLP guy, and he helps coaches make the transition from fully qualified to fully booked. So you're building that up, so people start to associate that with you. But when you have leads, you got to be able to do something with it. Who here has got leads, but you're not able to convert them into anything more useful? Okay. So the messaging then, where it comes in, becomes more sophisticated, because you've got to get clear. Then I think the best bit of advice is that serve, don't sell. If you have connections and they associate you with whatever your brand is, whatever your niche is, it's about, how can I help? Wake up in the morning, how can I help my connections powerfully? These are all people that if you can come up from a place of service, of love, of helping. So, hey, there's loads of ways where we can use our connections to try and help. This is a game changer for me because I'm really awkward. I was incredibly awkward about reaching out cold or not being the first person to make the move. So think of things like where you have value. Who might value that? So if you have connections, anything about them at all. If you have, I think you're in LinkedIn, Steve. So LinkedIn is great for checking out a profile. A great way to perhaps use LinkedIn or start off these connections is read some of find someone who maybe responded to a message. Do people respond? Do you get a like or do you get a comment on your content, Steve?
Yeah, I get people liking, get people commenting, and then I connect with about between 50 and 100 people a week, and
right.
Lots of conversations with these guys.
Yeah,
but they're very reluctant to get on a call or admit that they actually need help. As soon as they'll say in the conversation they're struggling with this or that, but whenever you say, okay, can I help you in any way, most of the time they just say no, I'm just going to try and sort it out myself.
Okay. So powerful question. And what are the three golden questions? What's your biggest challenge?
What I'm asking the client, asking.
Yeah. See, what's your challenge? And then if they go beyond that, it's like, okay, and they let them talk about it, and just be interested, be curious, and let them try and get as much information. Just let them kind of communicate, and just coach like try and just be active listening in conversation and hearing them. And then how is that affecting you, or what are the consequences of this? And let them tell you, oh yeah, I suppose actually it's wrecking my head, or it's keeping me up at night, or it's between my relationship. And using like active listening skills, I like to use your acknowledgement a lot. That must be incredibly difficult for you. I'm very sorry you're going through that right now. Perhaps you could tell me how long have you been experiencing this? So it's easier on a phone call, but you can try this just very gently, because what we're doing here is we're trying to understand what their problem is, what they're experiencing. The more we can understand about that, the more we can go, okay, I think I can help with this. But before you ask to offer any help, ask the client or the other person realizes, okay, I have this problem and it is actually costing me a lot. The nice pivotal question is, are you open to having any help with that? And it's not necessarily you. And the sooner you can get to that, you don't want to rush it, but you don't want to be wasting a lot of time with these kind of polite messages, especially if you've got 50 people a week, it would be all the time. I think the attitude is like, I'm here, I've got a lot to offer, a lot I can help, and I'm looking for people who I can serve, who I can really help. And they're out there, I know they are, and I want to help them. So are you one? And you just kind of guide them through this. And if they're, I know it's for people that are very reluctant, but take it slow, but it's slow but efficient. Be efficient and try and get to that pivotal question as soon as you can. You want to get an email list, so you can nurture people. Perhaps you're trying to draw them, Steve, into a Facebook group or a group, a place where you can kind of nurture them, and that's where you can build up trust as well. They may be more willing to get on a free webinar, or you could ask people, hey, I've noticed you respond to my last, thanks so much for your like of the last post, or I just checked out your profile and I noticed this, or I really like that last post you did. Be interested in them, really interested in them. Or you mentioned this, and think of things you have of value. I recently did a free webinar, and I have a recording for people who, for example, it was niche. Would that be of value to you? Would try and give them a token, an offer of high value. Maybe you have content there that'd be really useful for someone. Offer them that as a kind of as a transaction, not a transaction, as an offering. Hey, I want to help you. Would this help? And if they do, it's a nice chance. Okay, so you can send it to them by try and get them onto an email or a direct message, and then you're probably direct message ready. Try and get their email, then send it across, and then a few days later you might go, Hey, Steve, I just checking in with you. Last week I sent you a recording I did. Did you get a chance to see it? Or last time I sent you a PDF or I did a post. Did you get a chance to look at it? Oh no, I forgot. Okay, well, I'm going to do it this week. Okay, I'm just going to, I need to check in with the next week. And it takes about 7 to 9. The now set takes about 10 touches for some people to be ready to make the make the offer. So you want to have messaging going. LinkedIn is great for outreach, going out to people. You can look at their profile, you can engage them, and then try and draw them into a group or something where you can nurture them. That could be a WhatsApp group, a Facebook group for your niche. That can be really powerful. It takes time, but then when you're in that, when they're consistently showing up for them and serving them, they get more and more warm to you. And that's where you can make all these touches. And eventually there's people following you don't even know it will go, hey, I'm in trouble. Can you help me? Remember, no conversation, no business. So this is all about creating conversations. It is really kind of driving your whole business is creating conversations. And then we spoke about the high fee program service. It's very hard to make a living off single sessions. They're so unreliable. If you're looking for trying to create a high program service, you really got to focus on the transformation that you can help people achieve. And so look at the transformation you've been through yourself. And the way you sell that transformation, you understand really, really well where the client is now, but also get clear on their outcome, where they want to get to. And if you're confident you can get a person from where they are now to a specific outcome, and you can build a program around that, then you have a product, then you have something of value. So to do it, you kind of think of, okay, a person's here, and I know I can get them to here, but how long might that take? What would you have to teach them? What would you have to coach them through? What barriers may they have to face? Realistically, how long it takes to create habits, stage it, and then build it into a kind of a program. It's nice to have a different version. It's nice to have a top shelf one, which is the highest value, the most offer, and it's the biggest investment, and then a reduced version of that, and another reduced version. Typically for the big ones, it's 8, 10, 12 weeks. Although when you're in the early stage of a coaching career, you may be better off starting with a 4 to 6 week program until you kind of cut your teeth. I used to work on 4 weeks and then became 6, and now I do 12, mostly with some kind of 10s. So when you're designing it, you can think of the process required. What stages will I bring the client through? And then how will you do that? What methodology? This is a great chance to use your expertise and strengths across areas. So perhaps you're a nutrition and lifestyle coach, but you're also interested in fitness, or you're a personal trainer, or perhaps it's mental health, or perhaps it's medical knowledge, or perhaps it's expertise. This is where you're creating these are the ingredients to the special cake that you're going to bake. Ingredients to your program. When you have that in place, you're going to be able to make high fee offers. So the way to do that is really, what does Steve Chandler, he wrote a book with Rich Litvin, The Prosperous Coach. He says, no coaching was ever sold without the conversation. So you really want a lot of your marketing, a lot of your efforts, everything is kind of building up, getting people onto a call. And when you do, it's basically a sales call, but you don't want to treat it as a sales call. But you're looking for a sale. And a little quick guide to that: if you get them, once you get a person on a call, you don't even think about offer. What you're doing, you're curious, you're listening well. You want to hear the client. They're usually far more familiar with what situation they're in right now. Tell me what they're experiencing, the challenges they're facing, the adversity they're up against, what's keeping them up at night, etc. You can explore. Okay, the questions like, okay, you're reflecting back what you heard. What do you think are things that are contributed, or that have contributed to this, or what are things that you think have led, that might have caused this? Have them tell you what they probably already know, or what aren't working. A nice question on all of this is, what's not working here? And it's usually people, oh, yeah, it's pretty obvious. Okay, well, that's not working. once you get to clarify and explain to you, a nice kind of test is if you can listen to all of that and then reflect back to them in nice, basically underline it. Okay, so what I'm hearing here, you've experienced a lot of stress. It's predominantly in the workplaces. There's someone in the workplace that's really driving you crazy, but that stress is building up and it's now you're bringing it home and it's affecting your relationship, and that's causing extra stress. And it's also now beginning to affect your sleep. And the whole consequence of this is you're fatigued, you're tired, and it's affecting your relationship. You're not enjoying work. You want to pack it in, but you need the money. You feel like you're in a bit of a jam. Did I hear you correctly? They go, yeah, that's it. Okay, when you've got that, you go, okay, what do you believe is causing all of this? Or what do you believe has led you here? And it'll try and tell you, and you reflect it back again. Okay, and then you want to enroll them in their vision. You want to give them, what would you really like to have instead? What if you could just transform all of that? Where would you love to get to? Or what would you love to have instead? And think of it, you're enrolling them in their own vision. There's no point making a high fee offer until you have enrolled them in their vision. I had a few calls in March, 2 calls in a row where I just didn't get to the point. I didn't make an offer because I never got to enroll the prospect in the vision. So I didn't even make an offer. I just say, okay, there's no point in making an offer here because we're not really believing, we're not really in this. So you don't make your offer until you've enrolled them in the vision. When they go, oh, wow, this is what I'd love to have instead. When they tell you what they'd love to have instead, the magic question again, are you open to having any help with that? If they go, yeah, sure. That's a nice time, Steve, to bring it in. It's on a phone call, but you might be able to get there in messaging just to open up. And then, okay. And then do you believe you can help them? You want to be able to believe, yeah, I'm pretty sure I'd love to work with you because you're the exact kind of person I'd love to help because this, and this. So if you believe you can help them, then your job is to communicate how. Okay, you can ask them, okay, so would you like me to tell you more about my program or how I believe I can help you get there? And if they go, sure. If they're enrolled, they're going to be, yeah, sure. They're going to be thinking of the price. They're going to be thinking, what's it going to be? What's it going to be? You don't give them that. So you got to go, okay. So this is how typically it works. So in your situation, I'd recommend my 3-month package. Or you can ask them, how long do you think this might take for you to really get there? And usually they're going to go, oh, probably could take 6 months. And you get their version. And you build a program back around that. Okay, so that's realistic. I think in 6 months you could get there, and perhaps even in less. Or I typically work for people over 3 months, and sometimes it takes a bit longer. But yeah, I think within 3 to 6 months is realistic. Get agreement, and then lay out what you will do with them, the processes, what's involved, and then if they go, you're going to help them with their nutrition. You're going to help them bring in realistic exercise to boost their fitness, and then you're going to use the mind mentoring to help them really manage their mind so they have more control over their thoughts and their energy. You're going to bring in energy management. You're going to bring in your flavor, and then you tell them all of the details, blah, blah, blah. And you go, how does that sound to you? Any questions? And if they're clear, then you make the offer. And then you see how the offer sings. And if sometimes they go, sure. Sometimes they don't have the money. There's a way to handle objections that I'll teach in a different class. But that's really, is that helpful there? Anybody, any questions on that? Is that helpful? So then we have the technical aspects. So start off really simple. Don't let this be too much of a hindrance to you, but set up some basic things. What I didn't put in here was, okay, so if you want someone with a manager emails, once you have a lead magnet, some way to attract, you're going to be creating connections, you want to be able to manage them. So if you're trying to get an email as much as possible, that's a nice, easy way to reach people with your message. So I use ActiveCampaign, but I don't think they have a free version. MailChimp is a nice one to start with. If anybody hasn't got one yet, and you're just like, oh, I'm not a techie, I created a tutorial for a coach I'm mentoring at the moment and I can just share that with you as a step-by-step procedure as to how to create your own subscription or your email subscription through MailChimp. Or even just use a spreadsheet, but do track it. It's easy to start, but you'll soon be overwhelmed with, oh, when did I reach out to that person, or did I email her, did I reply, etc. Have a lead magnet to generate new leads, and think of creative ways to get more and more connections. Social media and messaging, what's your thing, which is your favorite one. Don't spread yourself too thinly. There are artificial intelligence websites and services that will help you break up content and convert it into different things for different reasons. Even free ChatGPT, I use it. I do an email, I ask it to convert it to Facebook and to LinkedIn, so it gives it a different flavor. It saves a lot of time, and it's free. It's amazing. Call scheduling, so Calendly is the typical one. I use Once Hub now. You don't need it. Calendly was probably simpler at the start. Acuity is another one. So you have a call schedule. You want to make it really easy. Have a link, and you can share someone, discovery call with Steve, clarity call with Paula, and just be able to very quickly send out in a message, very quickly send it in an email, make it really easy to link to your calendar only when you're available. And that's a really nice way. That was a game changer for my business when I got that up. Have it on your website, have it at the end of your emails or whatever. Calendar, just remind you, you're going to have to manage your calendar so that you never forget a call or an appointment or notable booking. It happens, but minimize it. So, folks, I'm rushing through because I'm aware of the time. But how wobbly or solid are your foundation stones? Niche, technical aspects, lead generation and messaging, high fee offer.
Shane?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's about the cost. So I've noticed that some people will put down on their website, a discovery call free for 20 minutes, and then otherwise it's X amount for whatever sessions. And I'm sort of being, torn between, do I want to do that, on my web? Do I want to say what my fee is, be upfront, or do I say, and I've seen this also in someone else where you contact them directly, contact me directly to discuss my fee or whatever. So what's your take on that? Okay.
Everybody else, you can be working on rating your foundation out of 10. Niche lead generation, have it, and I'll answer Paula as best I can. So the problem with putting your price up there is that people don't know what they're buying yet. Until you've had that kind of discovery call and you've listened to them, you've really been interested, and you can map out for them the transformation you can help create, they won't see the value in it.
Okay.
Some people are really good and have nice websites and stuff, but the people say, different opinions. But that's why I'm reluctant to put my prices up, because people go, oh my God, that's so expensive. Whereas there was someone recently, and she it was way beyond what it wasn't way beyond. It was a lot more. I came down for her for a situation, but she really wants to work with me now, and she's going to, and that's good, because you want people invested in the transformation. The bigger the transformation, you want them invested in it. But it does put people off. But maybe they're the people you want to put off. You're going to have to just start getting a bit kind of more brave. So what's your gut instinct saying, Paul? If I would say, have you got a coin?
A coin?
A coin.
Not on me. Not on me.
Do I have a coin on me? Okay. Heads or tails? Heads is you put your prices up. Okay, I got the two or the.
I already know the answer. I already know my answer now.
Okay, which one is it?
Not put the prices.
Okay, so your job is to be able to get people earn enough trust so people will get on a call with you.
Yeah.
Because they trust you enough, and this is what I'm trying to do now. Is that your serve, don't sell is the principle. You're just trying to serve people, and you know the value of what you offer, and you get good at being able to communicate that offer, that value, and then you make the offer.
Yeah.
But you can have some services perhaps if you want to just put a price on.
Okay, yeah, true. Yeah.
Maybe, but then people go, oh, how come you charge me that and a single session is this, and it should be less or should be more? So just be careful with managing people's perception.
Yeah.
Anybody got a sign of a wobbly stone or two? from this little exercise? Tina, I see a nod there. You want to share? Anybody want to share anything? A wobbly stone. Sorry, Tina, you're muted. I can see the mouth movement.
Lovely. Yeah, quite a few wobbly stones, but it's still early days, isn't it? I suppose. I'm not too worried about the pricing. I've sort of started to feel a little bit more confident about that, and recently had my first higher value client. So it was all a bit touch and go. I felt like I was on the edge of a cliff waiting for her to get back to me. I was like,
I know.
Oh, she's not going to go for it. Oh, never mind. And then all of a sudden, she just sent me a really calm message going, yeah, that's all fantastic. I'll speak to you when I get back from holidays. And it was like, oh, okay then. And so that worked. And that was that I really had to sit back and wait.
Yeah.
I had to really calm myself down and sort of think, just be calm and just sit with this like you would ask a client to do. Be my own client here and just be patient and not keep, because I nearly gave her another offer and I thought, no, stay calm and see what happens. Because I think what I'm offering her is good. And I want her to see the value in that. So that was good. So that's probably
a big win.
Wobbly stone. And the higher value program is probably my least wobbly stone. My biggest issue is that people want weight loss all the time.
Yeah.
And as a person with weight management issues myself, I can really see that. So I'm struggling with my niche a little bit in terms of what sort of hearing that call from so many people, but it also feeling like it waters down some of the other stuff that I want to do. So it's still a learning curve for me, that is.
Okay.
I've got to dig into that a bit more. So that because I don't want to be something to everybody, but I don't want to miss a trick either. I don't want to miss that side, because people are asking for those things as well. So it's just
I understand.
to balance it, isn't it?
Yeah, and look, and the other stuff on the side will help guide you as well. Weight loss. People think they want weight loss, but if you're a coach, that that's not what they're looking for. And there could be 6 people on the call here, and they all want to lose weight for different reasons.
Yeah.
So your niche, helping the niche down, is you think why they want that. I want to feel my confidence, feel confident in your body again, feel energy, feel the spring in your step again. Well, think of what they really want, and that you speak to them more. The nice thing about having a niche is you can start to really communicate or speak to them in a way that they really, oh wow, that's so me, that is so relevant. Whereas weight loss is still generic. Don't just lose weight, gain emotional freedom or something, you can just put your own hype with it. Okay, so look for the wobbly stones and then just think, okay, maybe it's time to and we can't, focus everywhere at once. It's hard being a coach. You're kind of, so you're in full time, it's a full business here. Just pick perhaps the weakest stone. Like the niche is an important foundational one, but you have to have these things in place. There's no point in getting a call if you not really clear on your program or your price or being able to communicate it. Technical aspects, they're usually more of a mental block than anything else. Okay, Steve's used Aweber for my email list. It's free, so brilliant. Thank you for the tip there. You don't have. There's a lot of options out now, and they're changing. AI is changing things rapidly. There's more and more services coming on that are pretty amazing, and a lot of them have free versions. Especially for ones aimed at coaches and consultants have these free at the starter thing. So it's usually not a huge investment. And then to get serious is a numbers game. I'm trying to build your business. Like you're doing amazing work. Connect with Connection, Steve. And then you said 30 to 50 a week, I think. So how many connections do they create this week? New connections. And people engage. How many people did you engage with in messaging? You might reach out, but how many people got back to you and did you engage in? And then off that, how many conversations did you have? I think that's kind of like dialogue, even if it's on messaging. But ultimately getting them onto a call where you can, and then I didn't get to make an offer. I had 2 calls where I presumed I would make an offer and I didn't make an offer. So that didn't quite get there. How many offers did I make? And then how many of the offers I made, how many clients did I get? How many paying clients did I get? They're nice little numbers. You want to play the game, have some targets for the week. Did you do it or not? I know if over time then you realize, I had 50 new connections. I was messaging 20. Off that led to 4 conversations, and off the conversation I had 3 offers, and off that I had 1 client. that starts to give you something useful in the longer term. You go, okay, could I maybe move from 3 offers to 2 clients? That'd be huge. You could focus on how good you are at your offers. If you're not getting enough conversations going, maybe you need to go back a step and go to creating more connections or reaching out to people with messages, etc. I hope this will be helpful. I want to make you all a special offer before you go. If you haven't already enrolled in my 6-week Kickstart Your Coaching Business with the Power of AI, I'll cut it brief. I'll send you the link here. Full price is $299. I'm giving it an introductory price of $199. It starts on the 11th of May. It's a Thursday evenings at 7 till 9. And there's 6 live webinars and there'll be content in between and little tasks, important tasks to help you with all these foundation stones. The webinar offer is you can all use this coupon Kick30 at checkout to get £30 off, or pay the full price of $199, and I'm going to include the Get Coaching, include another course we have. It's an 80-hour online course called Coaching Skills for Everyday Life, and that's worth 150 quid off the shelf, and I can throw that in for free. And that's a nice bit of home study for your coaching skills. So that's valid. The coupon Kick30 is valid until Saturday night, 30th of April. I'll reach out by email with the details after this for all the registrants. And if you want to work with me, I do a free call. I can do a very quick 10-15-minute call to see if you want to get on the longer call. And that's free right until you decide to work with me or not. And I know you're kind of my target audience. So I think one of the values of me, I know what you might need at a certain time. Whereas, so a kind of a strategy call, you might think, oh, I need to do some advertising, but you don't need to do it. You have to have this in place first. So these foundations, I like to help people there. And I may not be the good fit for you right now, but get on a call with me, reach out. I can send you a link. I'll put a link in the follow-up email. Okay, any questions? Everybody needs to go. Thank you so much for your time. I'll spend a few. I hear you, Rebecca. No problem, and thank you for the feedback. If anybody wants to stay on and ask me some questions, I'll give you a few more minutes, and I'm going to be closing up for lunchtime.
Oh, thanks a lot, Shane.
Thanks so much for joining me. Really,
Thank you, Shane.
and for all the shares and for all the contributions.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Bye.
I'm going to press the stop recording.
Right.